Hello, you're watching The Mainstream, an exclusive chat on the topic of building cyber resilience by addressing the complexity of crisis, powered by Cloudflare. I'm Khushbu Soni, the founder of The Mainstream. Well, I'm very thrilled to invite our guest for today. We have Mr. Sivaramakrishnan and Vice President Information Security at M2P Solutions Private Limited. Shiva is a CISO who is committed to protecting business and people from cyber threats. He ensures that security is not just a checkbox, but a culture. With 25 plus years of rich experience in the IT and security space, he has been at the forefront building secure and safe scalable systems. He's passionate about mentoring individuals and teams on security. And when he's not tackling cyber risk, you'll probably find him sipping coffee and diving into a good book. Shiva, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Khushbu. It's my pleasure.
Awesome. Hitesh has been on our episodes earlier as well. He needs no introduction, but I'm going to take a few seconds to do that. Hitesh comes with 25 plus years of rich experience in the IT industry, focusing on the networking and cybersecurity domain, spanning enterprise banking and finance commercials segment. And his expertise lies in technology, pre-sales, leadership, and consulting. Hitesh, once again, a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Khushbu. Thank you.
Superb. I wanted to begin, Shiva, with putting across the first question to you. As a security leader, what are the biggest concerns you have when it comes to securing a business that operates across different regions?
When we talk about moving it globally in different regions, where you would have challenges is the regulatory requirement in changes in every landscape as you go. So, for example, one country asks you that you need to have data localization. Other country tells you that I need data localization, but I can also give you some other friendly countries where you can post. So each region, as you go, things would keep changing, right? Like other place, you would also talk about, if we talk about GDPR, for example, the weightage goes more to the data subject. So data subject comes first, then anything else if you're talking about European region privacy. But if you're talking about in other countries as it goes, it is not the same weightage where subject comes in picture. For example, DPDP, if you look into it, it is giving equal weightage, not just for the data subject, it is also for the fiduciary. They want to look into both way. It is coming correct. So it is. That's where it makes your learning also interesting and also your implementation also challenging. So I look into the positive side, you keep learning every day. So if you tell that we are expanding into a new market, then you have to go back and then like you did before 10 years, I have to look into what all the regulations, what all we have to implement, what is right to be there in that region it is. That's what we look into.
Superb. Fantastic. Thank you, Shiva. Hitesh, Cloudflare operates as a global security network. How does this approach help business strengthen their security posture across multiple geographies?
Yeah, I think there are many reasons out of the global network that we built, right? But let me begin with few, right, in terms of giving the right perspective. So our global security network, which is obviously a comprehensive platform that provides businesses with a completely robust security posture across multiple geographies. The way we approach is likewise, first of all, we obviously have a global presence in terms of covering our network over 200 plus cities and 100 countries, which essentially means that we want to be in each and every geographic region to ensure that the security posture is consistent with a very, very robust and security landscape, which is completely approached in a very, very integrated manner. Second is we believe in the edge security approach. So there's a very famous phrase which says, think global but act local, right? Similar to that, we also believe that when I'm having a global network, right, we have to also take care of a lot of edge security, which is as close as to the user in terms of ensuring that the application and the data that we serve with the edge of the network should be closest to the user, which basically reduces obviously the amount of latency that the user would have, but with the very, very fastest experience in terms of user, right? And with that, they are also able to mitigate some of the largest DDoS attack, able to execute security at the edge which gives an added advantage to our cloud infrastructure that we built over the years, right? Third is obviously we also believe a lot of threat intel is also an important thing. Now, one of the advantages that Cloudflare has today, since we are globally present, we have the visibility of roughly around 20% of the world's internet traffic because of the POP that we have deployed across the globe. That actually helps us to build a lot of threat intelligence, and a lot of it are actually on a real-time basis. So when a zero-day kind of an attack happens, right, we're able to quickly mitigate, take a corrective action, and help prevent those attacks for our customers from some of those hackers and attackers who are trying to take the advantage. And last but not least, because we believe in a single platform with single control plane and data plane across the globe, we're able to roll out consistent security policies. Now, consistent security policy takes away a lot of complexities from the user perspective in terms of they're able to roll out configurations fast. They're able to fulfill a lot of requirement in terms of regulatory and, like Mr. Sivaramakrishnan was talking about some of the guidelines, principle around regulatory pressure, which is coming from most of these companies, is also being able to meet. So in a nutshell, this is what we provide not just the comprehensive platform, but also taking care of the security posture that these customers would need on a daily basis to strengthen their exposure and reduce the attack landscape.
Got it. Thank you, Hitesh, for sharing that with us. Shiva, with increasing cyber threats, how is your organization approaching security strategy? And, with the focus on the borderless digital ecosystem as well.
Okay, that's a good question. So you need to work onto it in a multi-layer. It is not like one size fit all, right? You have to do it like what we call it as multi-layer, or defense in depth is the way we have to look for. So I would start this with zero trust. So you trust, but always verify you need to do. So you can't have a persistent authentication or authorization always available. So you have to verify on demand. You have to provide that authentication required for user, right? So I will start with zero trust first. Secondly, we would have to go into, that is in a preventive mode, which we will put it on. Then about on predictive, right? Like you have to do continuous monitoring. If there is an anomaly, if there is an issue, you need then alerts to come in and somebody can look into that one. This is a second layer. Then the third, if I have to look into was, so whatever now I spoke is all in on the platform and the security which you will build it. But the most important thing is it is all people, right, who comes in with you, right? So how do you give the awareness for them and what is important? How do you train them so they are ready, so they understand the intricacies of the security? Those we have to look for. So those are all few I would think about. If I'm talking about latest, which is today, which everybody's buzzword, even Khushbu will not publish this if I am not using the buzzword AI and ML. So AI and ML automations we have to look for. How do we use them to reduce the false positive? How I am using machine learning to understand, because false positive is the time to respond is going to reduce drastically if you have more false positive. So how you can use them and how you can automate to reduce the false positive, we have to look for. Then last is not the least is about how do you know what is happening around, right? As we rightly heard, right? Like we are talking about what are all the threat actors doing? What are all the advanced persistent threats which is happening across the globe? We would need to know. If we are not knowing that, that's also a problem. So that's a way. So multi-layer.
Super. Thank you for sharing that, Shivam. Hitesh, you've been talking to a lot of CISOs. You meet on a daily basis. What are the key security challenges that you've been hearing that the businesses are facing across borders, and how does Cloudflare really mitigate them?
Yeah, I think what we see here is primarily, a lot of customers are probably looking at being a proactive than the reactive measure, right? Because reactive is very, very time consuming, and it also, it doesn't actually help you achieve your goal and objective of total cybersecurity, right? So, and when it comes to proactive, which means that you need to implement a solution which helps you build a strategy around how can you prevent an attack before it can even initiate, right? I'll give an example. On an average, if you think from a typical cyber attack perspective, it takes somewhere roughly between 250 days to plan an attack. And even those attacks gets unnoticed, This primarily happens because there is no right kind of alert mechanism being deployed on the infrastructure side, which would actually tell you that if an anomaly is happening, right, can we have an early alert? Number one. Number two, can the attack pattern or whatever we see in terms of activities going on the network side, can they be alerted and prevented at the same time? If not, at least we should get an alert or notification to be able to reduce the damage which can cause. Right? I'm saying not every system or solution that we deploy possibly would be 100% perfect. Right? Sometimes you may see, attackers are able to gain access to critical infrastructure. They're able to pass through. But if they're not able to at least get an alert so that we can make some remediation plan, that would be another devastating thing, right? Income that could be a big in terms of companies' reputation loss and financial loss also. So today, organizations are looking at strengthening their security policy. They're also investing a lot around resiliency because now uptime is very, very critical, right? So every customer should know, how can I keep my lights on whenever, let's say, an attack happens, right? Either can I move to, let's say, if my data center for some reason gets disconnected for whatever reason, do I have an alternate way of serving my customers, right? So looking at backup, looking at DCDR kind of connectivity and continuation from the perspective of businesses to run, I think these are some of the key aspects that the CISO and CIOs are looking at, which obviously takes care of customer, their employees, and contractors.
Got it. And also, Shiva mentioned about the zero trust security, and it's becoming very crucial as a model, right? If you can also touch upon how Cloudflare's zero trust architecture typically helps organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I was about to say that, when he made a point about the zero trust, right? Today, every organization is looking at how can they secure their perimeter? Because now what has happened is the border is diminishing. There's no longer a concept of, everybody working out of a single office or a premise, right? Office location. So today users are spread across the employees, not just the contractors, also needs access to your applications, whether it is on-premise or in the cloud. So Zero Trust helps in many ways. First of all, it helps you to identify who's accessing the network, right? So it starts with identification of a user and then also adding to the layer of security, which is called access management. Right? When you address these two challenges, you can actually ensure, like verified user, right, has access to the resources which are only needed to have. Like, for example, if I log in and let's say if somebody else log in the organization, based on the role in the profile, what access do I need to have can be determined by the your zero trust access policy. I mean, you can honestly prevent an overexposure of your rights and fundamentals when it comes to securing your network asset. Right. That's why it's important to have a zero trust approach, which is nothing but, we don't have to trust each and everybody. You have to first verify who the user is and then allow them the access in terms of what they can access. This solves a lot of problems in terms of your data security, in terms of accessing resources and many other things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Shiva, what role do partnership, with brands like, Cloudflare and security solution providers like Cloudflare really play a role in enhancing the whole cybersecurity framework? How do you look at, partnering with solution providers like these?
So, Khushbu, this is there is no one answer again in this, but let me try, right? So the point is a company like Cloudflare, right? I think Hitesh also quoted in the beginning, right? 20% of the internet data goes through them, right? So they have large visibility. It is like what I'm seeing from my first floor window and looking from a high-rise building 32nd floor window, right? There is a huge difference for me, right? So today I know the two tools available, right? Like you may have things like Cloudflare today gives you DDoS prevention, bot prevention, WAF, and we were talking about the edge protection, all of them coming in. So I may not have few things. For example, they have a content delivery network, CDN, but I may not have a use case for CDN. But getting to know the technology available today, because if you have to, you have two things, right? You get to know what are all the hacks happen, what are all the threat actors are working on, you have multiple feeds. Then about what are all the tools available for you to protect it, I always get it from this partnership, right? Like if I have to know what is the trends happening today, what is the type of hacks happening, what kind of frauds happening, what kind of tools are available to prevent it. Like every time it changes. Just think about mail security. I'll just touch up, right? In mail, we had only When we talk about mail security before 10 years, it is only about how do you prevent a phishing attack. Now we are talking about incoming email security we are looking into. Then email DLP for outgoing we are looking into. Then talking about VIP impersonation, how it is happening, we are looking into. Then from phishing, we are talking about phishing and smishing, and all of them comes in picture. Deepfake comes in picture, right? Even they can print, they can create what it is there, right? So what is happening around what product? So if you ask me today, I may say, I know for my email what all I have to protect. They were asking me, Shiva, do you know how do you protect from deepfake? I may have to look at somebody like Cloudflare to ask the boss, can you tell me what is there today, right? So at times I may have to spend a lot of time, because time is money in tech, right? That I have to spend with talking with the people. But that's where my learning curve also gets flattened. Like I get things to know faster. That's the way it happens. So not just that. Then the next point coming about is every time when I talk about security, it is about getting my budget approved. It is like your term insurance, right? You don't know what is the right amount you want to be insured. You don't know whether it is worthy that money bet or not unless you meet with an accident. You don't even know. And then term insurance is something you won't know. Probably your family only will know because you're gone by that time. Similarly here also, right? When you talk about security, what is the right number you have to invest and how do you convince your board is something I get a tremendous insight from this partnership. I can talk to them to understand, okay, what kind of challenges they look into my peers. So Hitesh can tell me, Shiva, of your size, somebody else also had the same problem. And this is the way he was able to get the budget convinced from the board. That is an insight for me, which is again, it's a win-win. So Hitesh also tells me that, Shiva, how you can convince, and Hitesh is getting the business for that. And I am also able to convince and then get the production what I want. So that's the way I look into it, Khushbu.
Yeah, superb. I think that's how we build the ecosystem and with a solid collaboration. Superb. Hitesh, Shiva mentioned that it's not going to be a discussion if we don't talk about AI and ML. So I'm going to be shooting a question to you. Yeah. With AI-driven threats on the rise, how is Cloudflare leveraging AI and machine learning to proactively detect and respond to security risks?
Yeah, I think, everyone knows that AI-driven threats are definitely on the rise, right? Yeah. And the way Cloudflare is leveraging our own AI and machine learning, what I would say that, we are making it more proactive to detect and respond to the security threats, right? Let me put in some perspective. When we started building this network, right, the whole idea of this entire Cloudflare connectivity cloud concept was to get as much as coverage in terms of the internet traffic that we saw today. Based on that, we build a lot of intelligence, and the intelligence comes in the form of a data that we process on a daily basis, right? With the data, when I'm doing actually threat analysis or anything which is based on machine learning techniques, it helps me to take decisions faster in terms of anomaly detection, for example, where I can identify something which is unusual in terms of pattern of behavior, which may be a security threat to some organization. Something like, unusual login attempt or a suspicious network activity. So I'm able to enrich my database with some of these capabilities. Then moving on to the analytics space. Now, based on the data, based on Cloudflare's perspective, right, the capabilities and the machine learning is very, I would say, very vast in terms of historical data that we built over a period of last 14, 15 years, right? It helps me to reduce the false positives because the analytics dashboard and the data that we provide is like second to none. It's huge in terms of, as close as to accurate in terms of what a customer should look at and only focus on some critical events and not look at each and everything, right? We also help our customer to using AI to automate certain incident response. Now, we also have our 24/7 SOC security services, which in turn also works with a lot of internal tools and processes to help our customers prevent those threats on a reactive basis, right? So, which is also kind of like helping our own tools and machines, data that they've gathered. So we typically call it as integration with human analysis, right? So in one of my blog earlier, I mentioned that when you talk about AI and human, right, they both have to coexist because the capability that we bring together in terms of human analysis and the security expertise, right, would be able to help mitigate a lot of these risks. We can then respond faster to the threats which is coming to the to us on a daily basis. I hope I have summarized it the best possibility.
You did.
Yeah.
Superb. So, Shiva, one last question before we end. As looking forward, how are you priorities? What are your top priorities or key trends or technologies that you believe will define the future of cybersecurity in an interconnected world?
So if I talk about AI ML, it should be in three buckets I have to put it on if I have to talk about the future trends. Bucket number one, every company, every product, they are trying to put in AI and machine learning. And fortunately or unfortunately, it is all becoming coming together at the same time, right? It is not like something which is evolving over a period of time. So everybody is learning and doing and doing and learning, right? So then the possibility of mistakes happening is wide. So how do you ensure? I mean, we touched upon privacy when we started this conversation, right? Then how do you define if it is doing a learning with your data? Then how do you define the data subject rights is protected? How are you anonymizing? How are you pseudonymizing it? How are you ensuring that that data travel which is happening on the machine learning and artificial intelligence is being ensured that it is anonymized? It is not being pointing back to someone. So this is how do you implement AI and ML security in your company where the security of that data is ensured? That is one layer. And the next layer we're talking about is when the same AI and ML is available with your the threat actors, how are they going to use it against you? How are you ready to prevent it, right? Like Hitesh rightly mentioned how they are supporting using AI in the organizations. So for me, the problem would be if a hacker is having the same and he's trying to do it, how I am going to prevent it? That is number one. Which is more like a red teaming or hacking when it is coming and how are you doing it? The third thing is about, which is again Hitesh mentioned about reducing the false positive, which is on the blue teaming. When you do that, when you are getting a lot of false positive, how you can leverage AI and ML to reduce those false positive. The three buckets when I talk about AI and ML. Then the next bucket is more tricky again, which is a new evolving thing is about the encryption. We were talking about AES 128, we are talking about AES 256. We are telling that it is going to take years to decrypt something because of the number of times we do that. ECDH encryption, the number of times you have auto-generated keys put in picture in that, how long it is going to decrypt it. But the quantum computing is again changing everything. So you would have a situation of something you think it is protected before a legacy system running a 5-year-old system. And you think that the encryption that holds good. That is the way regulation will tell you. A PCI DSS may tell you AES 256 is good. But if there is a quantum computing comes in picture to decrypt it, probably it is going to be decrypted. So you may have to think a step ahead of the regulatory standard to the security standard on how I am going to make my encryption better. So I think that would also be a big thing which will come in picture.
Great, thank you. I think
can I just add something?
Yes,
I think very interesting. One thing which I forgot to mention is we are also not just developing a product based on AI, but also offering something to our customer based on some of the product which can be leveraged to build the LLMs based on the Cloudflare infrastructure. For example, if you are looking at an infrastructure where you want to quickly develop some applications based on those very fast moving LLM, then Cloudflare can provide that platform to a customer to accelerate their journey on the AI development in terms of an application. So let's say if you're developing something in-house, then quickly leverage these models, AI inference and AI gateway to help you, bridge that gap and move to your actual business objective in terms of why you want to develop this application based on typical LLMs and those kind of things, which is mainly available at the open standard. I just wanted to add that.
There's maybe a question on that. I think I heard you, but just want to clarify, right? One question on that.
Yeah.
So what you are telling us, like I have something which is available from Azure Studio where I can go and use an LLM from OpenAI or maybe DeepSeek, for example, right? So similarly, Cloudflare is also giving it as a service where I can use it to build my own models is what I'm hearing, Hitesh. Is that correct?
Yes. And we provide out-of-the-box capability which you can leverage and start building on top of it.
Makes sense. All right.
Superb. I think this was great. Thank you so much. I have one, and it's going to be like a rapid fire. So you just have to quickly answer whatever comes first in your mind.
Okay.
Shiva, if you were to have a sit-down discussion, like a dinner discussion with a tech leader or a tech titan, who would that be?
Okay. It should be Satya Nadella for me, Khushbu.
Okay, lovely. Hitesh?
Elon Musk.
Okay, interesting. Describe cybersecurity in 3 words. Quickly, maybe Shiva, you can start and then Hitesh.
All right. I would start about awareness, prevention, reduction in that order.
Okay.
For me, it is before, during, and after. How can you prevent your cyber attacks?
Superb. I think this was great. Thank you so much once again for joining me on the mainstream and sharing all your valuable insights. I'm sure there are some solid key takeaways for our viewers. Thank you once again, and I look forward to having many more discussions with both of you.
Thank you, Khushbu. Thank you for having us.
Okay.